a lot of Gen Z kids, Hannah Montana wasn't just a TV show. She was a pop icon. Every night after school, you'd rush home to watch new episodes. You knew the theme song by heart. You begged your parents for the concert movie. And if we're being completely honest, at least once in your life, you probably imagined what it would be like to live a double life just like Miley Stewart. To be normal during the day and extraordinary when nobody was looking. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I've heard people say that Disney was trying to create the next big pop culture phenomenon after seeing what happened with stars like Britney Spears. And whether that is true or not, they've definitely created something special. Because Hannah Montana wasn't just a successful TV character. She became a singer, a celebrity, a brand, a merchandise empire, and one of the most recognizable faces of an entire generation. But recently, I found myself rewatching clips from the show, and I noticed something I completely missed as a kid. The reason Hannah Montana was so compelling wasn't because she was famous. It wasn't because she had sold-out concerts, and it wasn't even because she was living a secret double life. It was because Hannah Montana represented something that almost all of us have experienced at one point or another. The feeling that there's a version of ourselves we haven't fully become yet. A version that's a little more confident, a little more fearless, a little more willing to be seen. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized that Hannah Montana might secretly be one of the greatest lessons in personal branding, alter egos, and identity that Disney has ever created.
Hey, welcome back to Imani's Laboratory. So today we're testing what I call the Hannah Montana formula. So today I'll explore a theory. Not a scientific theory, not a Disney conspiracy theory, just a little observation that I've made. So I think the reason that Hannah Montana resonated with so many people was not just because she was a celebrity, but because she represented possibility. Because if you strip away the blonde wigs, the sold-out concerts, the Disney Channel budgets, Hannah Montana was really just a girl trying to become who she knew she could be. And honestly, aren't we all? One of my favorite things about Hannah Montana is that Hannah wasn't some magical person who appeared out of nowhere. She was Miley, the same girl, the same heart, the same dreams, the same insecurities. The only difference is that Hannah amplified certain parts of her. She was louder, braver, more glamorous, more confident. She was more willing to take up space. And honestly, I think that's where most people misunderstand alter egos. An alter ego isn't a fake version of yourself. Instead, think of it as a magnified version of yourself. It's a spotlight shining on qualities that already exist. So for example, think about the first episode. Miley is constantly worried about protecting her secret, not because she wants fame, but because she's afraid of losing the people she loves. She's afraid of being misunderstood and that people will treat her differently. And I don't know, maybe that's why the show felt so real. Because I don't know, most of us know exactly what that feels like. Not necessarily the pop star part, but the hiding part and the shrinking part. The part where you know that there is so much more inside of you, but you're just not sure the world is ready to see it yet. As kids, I don't know, we saw Hannah Montana as a fantasy. But as an adult, I think it's something else. Honestly, I think it's a metaphor. Because every single one of us has a Miley Stewart and a Hannah Montana, or a Mr. Jekyll and Hyde. We have who we are today, and we have who we're becoming. The gap between those two versions is where growth happens. And here's where personal branding comes in. Most people hear the words personal brand and they automatically think influencers, content creators, logos, business cards, social media. But personal branding is so much simpler than that. It's the story that people remember when they think of you. And Hannah Montana understood that perfectly. The blonde wig, the sparkles, the microphone, the music, the confidence. Everything about Hannah communicated a message. Without saying a word, you knew exactly who she was. Hell, I bet before you even really paid attention to the thumbnail of this video, you knew exactly what this video was about. Because you know exactly who she is. And that's what great branding does. It creates recognition. But there was also a cost. And the show didn't shy away from that. There were moments where Miley's friends felt hurt because she kept secrets. Moments where she struggled under expectations and pressure. Moments where Hannah Montana became exhausting. And I think that's important. Because the lesson isn't become someone else. The lesson is don't lose yourself while you're growing. One episode that always stuck with me is the one where Miley started questioning whether people care more about Hannah than they do about her. And honestly, I think that's a fear a lot of creators have. A lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of people in general think, what if they like the image more than they like the person? What if they like the performance more than me? What if the version of me that I'm showing the world becomes more important than the version of me that I actually am? And those are real questions. And surprisingly enough, Hannah Montana asked these same questions years before any of us were old enough to even understand them. And that's why I think the Hannah Montana formula isn't just fame. It's intention. Nobody accidentally becomes Hannah Montana. Every outfit was chosen, every song, every performance, every detail. Someone decided what Hannah stood for. And that's exactly what we do when we build a personal brand. We decide what we want to be known for, what kind of energy we bring into a room. And that's actually one of the biggest ideas I discuss in my book. The people who build strong personal brands aren't necessarily the most talented, but they are often the most intentional. They understand that identity isn't just something that you stumble across. It's something that you shape over time through repetition, through choices, through consistency, just like Hannah Montana. So here's my challenge for you. I want you to imagine your future self for a moment. And not the version of you from 5 years ago. Not the version of you that other people expect, but the version of you that you're actually becoming. What does she stand for? How does she carry herself? How does she speak? How does she dress? What kind of life is she building? Because the truth is, the future version of you isn't waiting somewhere at the end of the road. She's being built every single day with every decision that you make. And I don't know, maybe that's why Hannah Montana still resonates after all these years. Because underneath all the glitter and Disney magic was a story about transformation, a story about becoming, a story about possibility. And I don't know, maybe that's what made us love her so much. Or made me love her so much. Not because she was famous, but because she reminded us that we could become something more. The Hannah Montana formula isn't about becoming someone that you're not. It's about giving yourself permission to grow into the person that you've always been capable of becoming. And honestly, I think that's a lesson worth keeping long after the wig comes off. So guys, if you enjoyed today's experiment, I hope you subscribe to Amani's Laboratory. Make sure to like and comment what you think about today's video. And remember, the most powerful alter ego that you'll ever create is the person you're becoming. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.